In today's class, we will study planning the research. This topic comes under BAMS syllabus, third phase in the research methodology subject, sixth chapter, and the fourth topic is planning the research, material and methods. In today's class, we will study this topic. Now, first of all, what is the planning the research? Whenever we are planning for research, or whenever we are planning for writing the thesis, or planning for our submission of our article, research article publication, then this is one of the systematic method we have to follow before submitting to the publisher or before writing the thesis. After completing your research work, then systematically we have to write the our how we are completed our study, and what are the things we used, and what are the materials methods we used. That all the things we have to write in a one place. That is only the planning the research. Now here, the planning the research, the definition, this section is a blueprint of research. Here, ensuring the validity, how much that is correct, that will show, and reliability, that how you did that, trustable, and reproducibility, the same things, if another someone is followed, then same result will come, and ethical conducts, whether you are followed the all the guidelines, all that, if it is there, then that is called as a planning the research. Okay, simple meaning, planning the research is nothing but it is a blueprint of the research. Here, why we are writing? Because to show the validity, how much that you did correct work, as well as the reliability, trustable issues, and as well as reproduce. Same thing if you follow, then again same result will come, that is reproducibility, and all the guidelines we followed, that in the single things we are writing and sending to the publishers or writing in the thesis work. This is the planning the research. Okay, now it includes the 5 steps. First of all, the research design and settings, how the research designs we selected, and what are the settings we use. Second one, study population and sampling. Third one, material and data collection. Fourth one is the data analysis plan and ethical consideration. These 5 steps we have to write the planning the research, our blueprint of our research. The first step is the research design and setting. The research design is the definition, that the how we are conducted the research, whether we are conducted in the experimental methods, whether in the laboratory we are conducted our research, that we have to mention in the study design. Next one, the observational, whether just you observe the things and return whatever it is there. Observational. Survey, whether you did survey on specific area, whether you send someone and collecting the data. And lastly, the qualitative research, it means that the case discussion, or discussing with the few peoples, those are specific things, the qualitative research. This comes under the research designs. Here the research design is the study types, which types that is your research is there, you have to mention right in the planning of the research. The second one, the mention the study setting. Okay, where you conducted the research, whether you conducted in the hospital setting or in the laboratory or any community where you conducted your research, that you have to mention in your planning of the research. Next, why we are doing this writing the research design and setting? Because helps the proper structure, whether you did the properly structured, that for following, someone is follows things, then same result will come. That's why, to show the proper structure how you did, as well as the execution of the study, how you executed that study, to show the correct path, you are using the research design and setting. Now the second one in the planning of the research is study population and sampling. Okay, here study population, it means we can't take that all the peoples, the whole cities, everything, that we are simple that population limited peoples we are using in the our study, that is the study population. Here define the target population. Suppose in a specific area how many diabetes peoples are there, in a specific area how many hypertension people are there, that specific peoples only you are selecting in your study, that you have to mention in your planning the research, that is study population here. Now after that you have to write the inclusion and exclusion criteria clearly. Okay, here inclusion criteria, it means that in your research, in the planning, how many age group you are taking. Suppose 20 to 60 years peoples only you are selected, below 16 children you are not selecting, elderly people you are not selecting. That inclusion criteria you have to mention. Okay, that is the complicated, whether you are taking that immune suppressant, HIV, whatever the things you are including, that you have to mention. Excluding, it means that whether you are excluding above 60 years or children's, that also you have to mention in the exclusion criteria. The complicated diseases also, if you are excluding, that also you have to mention in your planning the research. Next is the second one is the samplings, how you are collected the data. Okay, samples how you are collected, by randomly you are selected, by the through cheat methods or through computer methods, randomly you are allocated the participants, that you have to mention, or stratified in the group you are selected, or layer by layer you are selected, that also you have to mention. And purposive means the intentionally you are selecting the few peoples, suppose in one area that diabetes, in another area diabetes, like that, the purposively you are selected, that also you have to mention in the planning the research while you are writing the your research paper. Next, why we are doing this one, because they justify the sample size, why you are taking, suppose the 40 participants only you are taking, 40 volunteers only taking, then you have to justify the why only you are 40 taking, or why you are taking 50 only. Just you have to simple justify your answer, why you are taking, advocate for statistical validity. While you are doing the statistical test, that should be minimum number is there for the statistical result. That is the study population and sample. Now the third one is the materials and data collections. The third step in the while the writing the planning of the research, the third one is the material and methods. Here we have to write the what are the materials you are using, the list of materials. It means the instruments, what are the instruments you are using, microscopes, okay, analyzers, whatever the things you are using, and reagents and chemicals, which chemicals reagents you are using, as well as the tools with model numbers also you have to mention in your plannings. This research institute with this model number where we used for this research, that also you have to mention in the material and data collections material. Next one is the data collection tools. For the data collections collection tools, questionnaire, whether we are questions we are asked, that also you have to mention how questions, what are the questions you are asked, as well as pro forma, what are the pro forma you are following, that also you have to mention in the planning of the research. Lastly, lab assess, the what are the lab access labs we are using, what are the tests you are doing, that also you have to mention while you are collecting the data. This is the third step in the planning the research. Next one is the fourth steps. After that third steps, that step by steps procedure describe the reproducibility. You have to follow in the third steps. After the collection, what are the steps you are following, that also mentioned. Next one, proper planning for the material methods ensure the scientific accuracy. Why you are collecting this scientific methods? Because for the accuracy, the correct methods as well as ethical compliances, avoid the ethics problems and reproducibility of the research. It means the someone is follow same things, the same result will come. That's why the reproducibility of the research in the third steps we have to follow. The next one is the fourth steps, data analysis plannings. Here, after the collection, lots of the data we are collected. Now the question arises in that the how we have to analyze, how we have to understand the large data, the crude data, how we have to understand that. That's for that the data analysis plan you should be clearly mentioned. Okay, what are the things you use to understand the data. That stratified test. Here the statistical test, what are the statistical tests you used for result, for the understanding the about your research. That is a statistical test, whether you use the t-test, ANOVA test, chi-square test, or regression test. What are the here statistical methods you used, that also you have to mention in your planning the research. Okay, the next one after that, the software. Is there any software you used while doing the research? That also you have to mention in your research work. That is SPSS, R, and other whatever the software you use, that also you have to mention in the planning of the research. The next one, level of significance. Here the level of significance, it means that accuracy, okay, how much error it is there, okay, that also you have to mention. It should be p as then that is 0.05. It means that your result should be more than 95% accuracy, it should be there. That is considered as a one of the good result or good research. That's why the level of significance also we have to mention while writing the planning the research. Next one is the fifth step or last step, is the ethical consideration. Why we are using ethical consideration? Because of the safety of the participants as well as the animals. What are the things we are used, that also you have to mention while the planning the research. The third, fourth one, fifth one is the ethical considerations. The first is the approval from the ethical committee, IRB. If you are using the human volunteers, you have to take the ethical committee approval. If you are using animals, then you have to take the animal ethics committee. And here obtain informed consent. Suppose if you are taking the participants, then you have to take the permission. You have to explain about the what are the good things are there in your research benefits, and what are the adverse effect may produce after taking this drug or involving in the research. That also you have to mention, explain in their own language. After that you have to take the signature on the consent form. That also you have to mention in the planning the research, obtain the information consent from the volunteers. Next step is the maintain the confidentiality. While you are taking or doing the research, how you are maintaining, whether there is secrecy or confidentiality, how you are mentioning, that also you have to write. Okay, what are the measures you are taking for their confidentiality, that also mention. The next last step is the for the animal studies. If you are using the animals in your research, then definitely we have to follow the 3 rupees rules, that is called 3 Rs rules for the animals. If you are using the animals, then 3 rupees rules. Why we are using? Because of the safety of the animals. The first of all, the first is the replacement. Replacement is nothing but the animals we are using. Nowadays the artificial intelligence and so many things are there, the computer models we are using. Suppose in your research, if we will remove the animals, whether we are using the any artificial intelligence techniques or computer techniques, whether we can replace the animals. If it is possible, better you have to replace the animals and use the computer technique. That is the replacement. Replacements means you have to don't use the animals. If it is solved through your computer methods, then definitely you have to follow this one, don't use the animals. Second one is the reduction. Reduction is nothing but, suppose if you are taking the 10 animals, if possible for 4 or 5 animals, then try to reduce the numbers of the animals. That is the reduction. That also we have to mention in the planning of the research. Now lastly, the refinement. Refinement is nothing but, while using the animals, try to reduce the pain and try to reduce the unnecessary the harassing the animals. Okay, that also what are the measures you are taking for the refinements, that also mentioned in the planning of the research. These all three are called as a 3 rupees rules while using the animals in research. This is the ethical consideration. Now this is the all about the planning of the research. Now, if you understood this today's topic, please share to your classmates and friends, and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.